Hello everyone, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. This is a third video in a series of 4 videos that we have planned, which will cover the biosphere reserves in India. So before watching this video, I would want you to watch video number 1 and the second video so that this video becomes interesting and you will be able to understand it better. In the first video and the second video, we have discussed what are biosphere reserves, what do you mean by biosphere reserves, and why is it required, what is the importance. Second one, the structure of biosphere reserve. We have discussed something called as core, buffer, and transition. These are the 3 structures that we have discussed in our first video. Third question that we have answered is the function of biosphere reserves. Okay, we have classified the function into 3 parts in order to understand all these 3 basic concepts. Okay, these forms a part of your environment, the static environment part. Okay, so you will be covering this. In order to understand it in a better way, I would want you to watch the first 2 videos and then continue with the present video. Let's start. In this video, we will be covering the biosphere reserves in central India. Okay, these are the biosphere reserves that we have. We have 18 biosphere reserves in India. Okay, we have 18 biosphere reserves, and out of this, 12 biosphere reserves are classified under Man and Biosphere Reserve concept, MAB, that is by UNESCO. Okay, I think you remember this. We have discussed all this. In the second video, we discussed the biosphere reserves in South India. Okay, in this present video, we will be discussing the biosphere reserves in central India, that is Run of Kutch, Pachamarhi, Panna, Achanakmar, Shimlipal, and Sundarbans. We will be covering all these biosphere reserves and we will be looking at what are the things that are important from the examination point of view and what UPSC can ask from this part of the syllabus. Let's begin. First, let's start with Run of Kutch Biosphere Reserve. As you can see here, Run of Kutch Biosphere Reserve is towards the western part of Gujarat and it is divided into Great Run of Kutch and the Little Run of Kutch. Similar to Great Andaman and Little Andaman that we have in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, this Biosphere Reserve is divided into Great Run of Kutch and Little Run of Kutch. It forms the part of Kutch, Rajkot, Surendranagar and Patan civil districts of Gujarat. So you can deduce that it is entirely part of Gujarat, and here you can see it forms the border between India and Pakistan, that is Gujarat and Pakistan. So Run of Kutch Biosphere Reserve forms the boundary between Pakistan and Gujarat. The key fauna of this desert is Indian wild ass. Very important to remember, Indian wild ass. Luni, Rupin and Banas river end in this particular area. Okay, Luni, Banas and Rupin end in this particular area. The next biosphere reserve that we'll be talking about is Pachamarhi Biosphere Reserve. This is the internal division of Pachamarhi Biosphere Reserve. It has Pachamarhi Sanctuary. You can see here. You have Pachamarhi here, you have Bori Sanctuary, you have Bori here, you have Churna, you have Satpura National Park, you have Tawa Reservoir. These are the internal differentiations that you have in Pachamarhi Biosphere Reserve. It was designated as the Biosphere Reserve in the year 1999. Pachamarhi falls within the state boundaries of Madhya Pradesh. So this is not a transboundary Biosphere Reserve. Yesterday in our second video, we have discussed a Biosphere Reserve which is at a confluence of 3 states, okay, which is a transboundary in 3 states, that is Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And this particular Biosphere Reserve is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. I hope you remember this. If you have not watched the video, please go back, pause it here, watch the second video and then we will resume. The key fauna of the Pachamarhi are giant squirrel and flying squirrel. Bori, Pachamarhi and Satpura National Park are the protected areas inside the Pachamarhi Biosphere Reserve. When we are talking about the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve, we have talked about 5 protected areas. These 5 protected areas are distributed between the 3 states, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So it is important for you to know all these 5 protected areas. Similarly, Bori, Pachamarhi and Satpura are the protected areas which are inside Pachamarhi Biosphere Reserve. The next one is Panna Biosphere Reserve. You would have seen this in news from last 2 years because of a river interlinking project. Okay, before we continue, I want you to write in the comment box what are the 2 rivers that was in news with respect to Panna Biosphere Reserve. It is situated in the Vindhya mountain range in the northern part of Madhya Pradesh. Is again in Madhya Pradesh. This is the 3rd Biosphere Reserve that we're talking about in Madhya Pradesh. It is designated as the Biosphere Reserve in the year 2011. Ken River, one of the least polluted tributaries of Yamuna River, flows through the reservoir, which means the river interlinking project that is happening. That is, Ken is one river which is a part of river interlinking project, and the other is Betwa River. Okay, Ken River and the Betwa River, and the reservoir or the dam is being built across these rivers, and the water is transported. The water direction, the direction of the river flow is changed, and this is the reason why Panna Biosphere Reserve was in news, because of the change in the course of river water. The flora and fauna of the Panna Biosphere Reserve would be hampered. River interlinking project will also be located in it. The key fauna here is the sambar and the sloth bear, tiger, chinkara and chital. The next one is Shimli-Pal Biosphere Reserve. Shimli-Pal Biosphere Reserve is a part of Odisha. Shimli-Pal within the state boundaries of Odisha along the Deccan Peninsula. This park or this peninsular reserve is Shimli-Pal Biosphere Reserve. Is a home to Bengal tiger, Asian elephant, gaur and chausinga. So one thing that you have to remember is the Bengal tiger and the elephant. These are the very 2 important animals that you have to remember with respect to Shimli-Pal Biosphere Reserve. It includes 3 protected areas: Shimli-Pal Tiger Reserve, Hadgar Wildlife Sanctuary and Kuldiya Wildlife Sanctuary. Very important. All 3 names are very important. Memorize this: Kuldiya, Hadgar and Shimli-Pal Tiger Reserve. Iringa, Kharis and Mankirdiyas are the tribes that inhabit the Shimli-Pal Biosphere Reserve. The next one is the Sundarban Biosphere Reserve. Very important ecological phenomena, that is mangroves. Mangroves are a part of Sundarban Biosphere Reserve and within the states of West Bengal along the Gangetic Delta. The key fauna of the Sundarbans is the Royal Bengal tiger. Okay, in this context, comment in the comment box which national park in India has the highest number of tigers. Which national park in India has the highest number of tigers? I want you to comment in the comment box. If you don't know it, then go back, open your books or find it on Google and know which is the national park and where is it located. Sundarban Delta is the only mangrove forest in the world inhabited by tigers. This is very important. It's the only mangrove forest delta. Whenever you have this word only in UPSC question, you will think this will be an extreme statement and you have the tendency to eliminate the statement and find the answer. But if you follow such strategy in this particular statement if asked, then you might go wrong. Remember this is an exception. It is the only mangrove forest in the world where tigers inhabit. Sundarbans is also part of UNESCO World Heritage Site and the Ramsar Site. Ramsar Site is an international recognition for the wetlands, and the UNESCO World Heritage Site list has the Sundarbans. I hope you have liked the video. That's all for today. For more such enriching content, please subscribe to Legacy IAS Academy. Have a nice day. Thank you.